Hey everybody, so this channel is going to be a little bit about how to program. When I say how to program, I mean just starting from the very basics of what a programming language is, how you want to get started programming. We're not going to actually program in any particular language. We're really just going to talk about data types, variables, strings, integers, and things like that. And we're just going to talk about the basics of how programming languages operate and what they do and how you can use the tools of basic programming concepts to create your own programs. So this video series obviously is going to be for people that have never programmed in any language before. If you've programmed and have any experience programming in languages, then you're probably not going to learn very much from this video. But if you haven't, and you haven't done anything in programming and you're just interested, like what's programming all about, this is going to be the channel for you. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to start by talking about variables. And so a variable is, you have, let's say you got 2x, right? This is stuff from algebra. So 2x equals 10, right? So x in this case, we divide 2 by the other side, and we get x equals 5, right? So in this case, in this equation, x equals 5. It has no other solution. So with a programming language though, right, if we say x equals 5, this is it's not concrete, it's not set in stone. So on the very next line I could say x equals 10, right? And this isn't a problem. This is literally just an alias, right? This is an alias for the number 5. This is a storage method. Right, so what we're doing here is when we say x equals 5, we're telling the computer that this variable, which we have called x, please set it equal to 5. And so the computer will say, okay, all references to the letter or to the variable x will be replaced with the number 5. Right? So then in this next line, we say x, which is equal to 5, right? But is also an alias, right? We'll say in this line we'll say x equals 10. Okay, so what this line is saying is throw away all variable, or throw away the old value of x. We don't need it anymore because we're going to set it to this new variable, or this new value called 10, right? So we have 10 here, and we can do 20, and then if we wanted to print this, let's say we were just going to print x to the screen. What would actually happen is if we were to run all these 4 lines at once, what would happen is x would equal 5 here, and then here it's equal to 10, and then here it's equal to 20, and this actually happens. So don't think that just because we're down here and just because we're putting x and it's 20, that none of this stuff, all of this happens in the background in the computer, and then we print x, which is equal to 20. So this is what would be printed to the screen right here, 20. Even though all of this stuff happened in the background, we don't see it because it all happens, and then we don't get any feedback from it because we didn't print it. But if we went x equals 5, print x equals 10, print x equals 20, print x, it would print 5, 10, 20. It would print all the values because the values are actually changing. Okay, so in programming, or in algebra, you see like variables. You might see x, y, z, m, and all of these are valid variable names in programming languages. But the thing about these is they're not very descriptive, right? We kind of know what x is and y is. On the y-axis, we have the x here and the y here. and even the z-axis. We have the z-axis here, but it's not really very descriptive of any further than that. So what we actually do in programming languages is we give programmers the freedom to name their variables whatever they would like. And there are a few restrictions on this, and it changes from language to language. But really, it's almost the same in every language. There are a few things that are pretty much the same in every single language, but it's just a thing you have to learn from language to language. So let's start, and we'll name this variable length. Right? And we'll say, and let's actually come over here and create a box. And we'll have 15 by 10. Okay. So, and this is just over here, this is just for a reference. It doesn't mean anything in our programming language. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to calculate the area of this square using these variables over here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, this one's the length. Okay, so over here we're going to say our length is equal to 10. And then down here we'll say our width equals 15. This is in our programming language, or in our program. And so what we want to do is we want to calculate the area. So we could say that the area, right? The area is equal to 10 times 15. But this is static, right? It never changes. So if we put this in our program, area would always be equal to 150. So instead what we do is we come over here and we say length times width. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to use variables to calculate an area. And there's a few advantages to this, and one of the advantages is that in the case of the length and the width, let's say we had another rectangle here and it was smaller, and let's say it was 5 by 4, right? Okay, so we have the length equals 10, width equals 15, but what if we wanted to instead of setting these values, let's say we didn't actually know which one of these we were going to calculate yet. And maybe we were going to have the user select which square we wanted to calculate the area of. Maybe it would say, do you want to choose the bigger square or the smaller square to calculate the area of? And the user might say the smaller square, right? So in this case, we would say small, and we would have another variable, and it would have all this information about the small square. We would have small. Let's put an underscore here and say length, right? And then we would say the width would be small, length, right? And so what we have here is we have small length and oops, that actually should be small width. What we have here is we have small length and we have small width. Alright? So the user has told us that they want to get the small width and the small length and calculate the area. Down here, we print the area. So we say print area, and it would print 20. 20 is the area of the small square here. And this small length and the small width are the values are being entered in up here, right? So there's some other way that this small length variable is getting assigned its 4, and the small width is being assigned its 5 value. So we get the area is 20. And if you notice here, we just took one variable and we set it equal to another variable. You don't really see that in math. This is something that is very important in programming. This symbol, the equal sign, does not mean that these two values are equal. It means that we take the small length and we set length equal to whatever small length is. And what this is here is this is the assignment operator. And all it does is it sets the left-hand side equal to the right. So if small, right here, small length equals 10, right? Then what it would do is it would say, okay, the small length, it would get the small length, and it would say, okay, small length is equal to 10. So since it's equal to 10, then I'm going to basically replace this variable here with 10. And then it's going to say, okay, the length equals equals 10. And so length is going to be equal to 10, and small length is going to be equal to 10. So we have, then we have the length here equal to 10, and the width would be equal to whatever. But in this case, since we're getting the small square, this would be 4, this would be 5. So we have length equals 5, width equals, or length equals 4, width equals 5. And then that is how our area is then being calculated. So, and if you notice down here in the area, we took two variables. We took two variables and we multiplied them together to create a brand new value. And this is something that you can do. You could do all kinds of operations on variables to get new values and set them equal to new variables. Right? So, and this is just one thing that you can do with variables. So, I think that wraps it up, at least not for variables yet, but this is, in particular, this is variables for integers, right? Just numbers. Variables can have all kinds of different values, and we're going to talk about some new values in the next video. We're probably going to talk about strings. So stay tuned and keep on learning, guys. If you guys want to see more videos, subscribe to my channel. That's the best way to let me know that this is what you guys want to watch. So I'm going to be uploading all kinds of videos. I'm going to be uploading Java, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP. So there's going to be a little bit for everybody. So just subscribe if you guys want to see more videos. Thanks.